Hello and welcome. Tonight, the magistrate court sitting in Ado-Ekiti denies human rights activist Dele Farotimi bail, adjourns application of bail to December the 20th. FCT High Court remands the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, in Kuje Correctional Center, pending the determination of his bail application. President Bola Tinubu commissioned state-of-the-art solar-powered data technology complex at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja. And the main Islamist rebel leader in Syria says senior officials of the Assad regime who were involved in torturing political prisoners will be named.
And on business news, Central Bank of Nigeria denies claims of forex sales to bureau de change at 1,301 naira per dollar.
On sports news tonight, FIFA set to confirm the hosts for the 2030 and 2034 World Cups during its Congress to be held virtually this Wednesday.
And from Abuja, the Nigeria Police Force recovers the equivalent of 129 billion naira in counterfeit US dollars, CFA franc, and naira notes in Gwale area of Kano State.
The magistrate court sitting in Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti State capital, has adjourned till Friday, December the 20th, its ruling on the bail application filed by Lagos-based legal practitioner and rights activist Dele Farotimi. Magistrate Abia State fixed the date after taking arguments for and against bail. He ordered the remand of the defendant in custody pending the ruling of the court on the bail application. The magistrate also adjourned till a later date his ruling on an application by the police challenging the appearance of the lead counsel for the defendant, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Adeyinka Olumide Fushika. Our judiciary correspondent, Shola Shieli, has the report.
Parties arrived earlier at the magistrate court at Ado-Ekiti for the hearing in the criminal defamation charge filed by the police against Lagos-based lawyer and rights activist Dele Farotimi. Farotimi is alleged to have defamed renowned senior advocate Afe Babalola and his law office in his book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. Count 1 of the 16 counts in the charge says that Farotimi in his book, which was received and read all over the world, including in Ado-Ekiti, stated that Afe Babalola corrupted the Supreme Court to procure a fraudulent judgment in the service of his clients, an act which is likely to cause fear and alarm to the public peace and which is contrary to and punishable under Section 59(1) of the Criminal Code Act. The offense carries a punishment of imprisonment for 3 years. At around 9:50 a.m., Farotimi is driven into the court premises by operatives of the Rapid Response Squad of the Nigerian Police Force and the Nigerian Correctional Center and led straight into the courtroom. When the proceedings commenced, the police prosecutor Sam Osubu challenged the appearance of the defendant's lead counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Adeyinka Olumide Fushika, before the magistrate court on the basis that a senior advocate should not appear in a lower court. He cited a recent judgment of the Court of Appeal, Oyo State. The senior advocate Olumide Fushika countered this submission by explaining that the Ekiti State Magistrate Law allowed lawyers, irrespective of their status and title, to appear in the court. He asked the court to reject the arguments of the prosecution, noting that the appeal court decision cited might not have put into consideration all magistrate court laws across the country. After listening to both lawyers, Magistrate Abia decided to step down his ruling on the matter as he would need to read and consider the judgment cited by the prosecutor. The magistrate also directed the senior advocate to step down, pending his ruling. This paved the way for another member of the defense team, Mr. Taiwo Adedeji, to step in and continue the case on behalf of the defendant.
Next was the charge. The original charge was amended, and the new charge was read to the defendant. And thereafter, the application for bail was argued. So, and the ruling adjourned to 28th of December.
Outside the courtroom, it was a war of words between supporters of both parties. The senior advocate for the defendants, who could be seen trying to calm frayed nerves, declined to comment on tape, but said off tape that the atmosphere was toxic and makes justice in the case doubtful. Supporters of both sides freely bared their minds.
Nobody can destabilize the peace of our states. We know they are rented talks. We know they are hired to do this. But no amount of street wailing, no amount of internet attack can make a group of underdogs to subdue the right of our family. All right.
We will respect the position of the case and at the same time present ourselves in the court of law at the next proceedings. But it is expected that this particular case is a bailable offense, especially in the magistrate court, so that we can be given a bail, so that we will not escalate this particular matter unnecessarily.
Meanwhile, the managing partner at Afe Babalola's law firm, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kehinde Ogunwumiju, has filed a civil suit on behalf of the firm against Farotimi for the alleged defamatory statements in his book. Ogunwumiju asked the court to stop the publication and sale of the book at all physical and online bookstores, pending the hearing and determination of the suit. The firm is also asking the court to order the seizure of copies of the book wherever it may be found. The firm also demanded an apology from Farotimi in 2 national newspapers, as well as damages in the sum of 500 million naira. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
In the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory High Court Abuja has remanded the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, in Kuje Correctional Center pending the determination of his bail application. The presiding judge, Justice Marianne Aneni, adjourned hearing in the 110 billion naira money laundering case brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to January 29th and 30th, and on February 25th and 27th, 2025 for hearing. The judge had earlier refused to grant a bail application filed by the former governor, saying it was filed prematurely.
The immediate past governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, is back at the field courtroom of the Federal Capital Territory High Court for the ruling on his bail application. He exchanges pleasantries with some of his supporters and lawyers. The trial judge, Justice Marianne Aneni, begins with the ruling on the former governor's bail application. Justice Aneni refused to grant his request on the grounds that it is premature and incompetent, stating it was filed when he was neither in custody nor before his arraignment. Relying on the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, the judge said the act provides that an application for bail could be made when a defendant had been arrested, detained, arraigned, or brought before the court. Mr. Bello had filed an application for his bail on November 22, but was taken into custody on November 26th and arraigned on November 27th. However, the second defendant, Mr. Umar Oricha, and the third defendant, Mr. Abdusalami Hudu, each received 300 million naira bail with 2 shorties each, who shall have property in the Maitama district of the FCT within the jurisdiction of the court. They shall not travel outside the country without the leave of the court and shall remain in Kuje Correctional Center pending the fulfillment of the bail applications. The defendants were directed to deposit their international passports with the court registrar. Justice Aneni of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja, remanded the immediate past governor of Kogi State in Kuje Correctional Center pending his bail application and adjourned the case to January 29th and 30 and February 25 and 27, 2025 for hearing. The former governor is standing trial along with 2 others in an alleged 110 billion naira money laundering charge brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Staying with the courts, the Lagos State Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja has fixed December the 12th this year for the hearing of an application filed by the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, challenging the jurisdiction of the court. Our presiding judge, Justice Rahman Oshodi, fixed the date after his attention was drawn to a Court of Appeal ruling which ordered him to hear the application. At the proceedings of April the 29th this year, Mr. Emefiele, through his lawyer, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Olalekan, submitted that he cannot be tried in the High Court of any state in Nigeria for alleged acts of abuse of his office, as this raises issue of constitutionality and legality. The EFCC, through its counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Oyedepo, had however countered this argument and asked Justice Oshodi not to defer or prevent the trial of the case. At the end of those submissions, Justice Oshodi had deferred till the end of trial his ruling on the application challenging the jurisdiction of his court. In a bid to strengthen the fight against corruption in Nigeria, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, UNODC, is partnering with the Ministry of Youth Development to mobilize young people in the fight against corruption. The initiative, known as the Youth Help Desk, was launched today in Abuja as part of activities to mark the International Anti-Corruption Day. The Minister of Youth Development, Mr. Ayodele Olawande, explained that the initiative aligns with the recommendations emerging from the July 2024 Youth Workshop on Transparency and Integrity in Public Institutions. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
A day after marking the International Anti-Corruption Day, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime is meeting with officials of the Federal Ministry of Youth Development to unveil a strategy that will increase the involvement of young people in the fight against corruption. For this year's commemoration is uniting with youth against corruption, shaping tomorrow's integrity, and this necessitated the need for the launch of the Youth Help Desk initiative.
Our recent national corruption survey reveals encouraging signs of progress. An impressive 70% of Nigerians, including our youth, have refused to pay bribe at least one occasion. This statistic is not just a number, it represents a growing culture of integrity and resistance against corruption.
The Minister of Youth Development laments the statistics of young persons denied justice in the nation's corrections facilities and highlights efforts by the ministry to address the issue.
Young people face systematically delay in getting justice and growing involved in the youth criminal activities. A large numbers of our pensioners are under the age of 35. They're in the prison, and many have been in jail without trial for years.
He also announced the setup for Youth Help Desk as a platform for youths to report cases of corruption and seek help.
We have made up our mind to close the gap in establishing the first step of it, which is the Nigerian Youth Help Desk. It is a platform where they can report cases of corruption, seek justice, and receive help in whichever areas, just to make them live a decent life.
The Help Desk platform comprises several initiatives designed to reach young people across all states, including the Federal Capital Territory, to promote awareness on the ills of corruption and the need for young Nigerians to be part of the solution. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, President Bola Tinubu commissioned state-of-the-art solar-powered data technology complex at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The magistrate court sitting in Ado-Ekiti denies human rights activist Dele Farotimi bail, adjourns application of bail to December the 20th. FCT High Court remands the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, in Kuje Correctional Center, pending the determination of his bail application. President Bola Tinubu commissioned state-of-the-art solar-powered data technology complex at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja. And the main Islamist rebel leader in Syria says senior officials of the Assad regime who were involved in torturing political prisoners will be named. The National Human Rights Commission says it receives at least 2 million complaints of human rights violations annually indicating that Nigerians have become more aware of their rights. This is coming as the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, says more than 70% of inmates in police facilities are yet to be charged to court or are awaiting trials. The two organizations made the submissions at separate events organized to mark this year's International Human Rights Day in Abuja.
Legal practitioners in the nation's capital have converged on this hall to mark the International Human Rights Day. The president of the Nigerian Bar Association is concerned about the delay in justice administration and the attitude of police officers.
It is a sad commentary on our national life that today, more than 73% of our prison inmates are made up of persons who are awaiting trial or against whom there is no charge pending in any court. And a number of persons have been in prolonged detention in either police stations, DSS facility, army facility, and some other federal detention facilities.
The keynote speaker interrogates the nexus between human rights, the future and the present, while underscoring the need for political will in the implementation of the Universal Human Rights Treaties.
Our human rights future requires us to really internalize the truth that, if one may paraphrase Fela Anikulapo Kuti, nobody can dash us our human rights, that they are indeed universal. So just as we should not take a cue from the quote-unquote advanced democracies when they give themselves, or those admitted to their club, the right to trample on human rights, nor should we wait to take a cue from them before we pursue and enjoy them.
At a separate event, the National Human Rights Commission holds a sensitization walk to raise awareness on the need to protect the rights of Nigerians. The walk, which started from the Federal Secretariat, terminates at the headquarters of the National Human Rights Commission, with participants displaying messages calling for collaboration to end human rights abuses.
We are struggling, we are fighting to make sure that everybody's right is respected. You see, in a country where no rights are respected, it shows the level of, living standard of the people. The number of complaints we receive every day shows me that more and more awareness have been created, because we receive well over 2 million complaints a year. That was not the case before.
According to a report by the United States Bureau of Democracy and Human Rights, over 62 cases of arbitrary arrest and torture in Nigeria were documented in 2021 alone. A similar report by the Ministry of Women Affairs also recorded over 24,000 cases of sexual and gender-based abuses in 2023. These reports highlight the urgent need to scale up mechanisms to curb the menace.
To the National Assembly, a bill seeking to mandate domestic processing of at least 30% of raw materials before exportation has passed its second reading in the Senate. Sponsored by Senator Nwebonyi Peter of the APC representing Ebonyi North, the bill aims to amend the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act of 2022, introducing provisions for local processing and production protection. During his lead debate today, Senator Nwebonyi highlighted the transformative potential of the bill for Nigeria's economy and argued that mandating local processing would boost local manufacturing industries, create jobs for Nigerians, reduce dependence on imports and the demand for foreign exchange. After deliberations, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, put the bill to a voice vote where a majority of lawmakers voted in favor, allowing the bill to scale its second reading. These are images of Dr. Frank Walter Steinmeier's arrival to Nigeria on a 3-day official visit. The German president was received at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, by the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike. While in the nation's capital, President Steinmeier will meet with key Nigerian leaders, including President Bola Tinubu and President of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Mr. Aliou Touré. A statement by the German embassy in Abuja reveals that the German president will also visit Lagos, where he will engage with business representatives, visit a startup hub and meet with members of Nigeria's culture sector and civil society, like Dr. Nike Okundaye and Professor Wale Soyinka. The House of Representatives has called for an immediate halt of the indiscriminate harassment of motorists and the release of vehicles impounded over the recent directive by the FCT Police Command on cars with tinted glasses. Now, the lawmakers also mandated its Committee on Police Affairs to engage the leadership of the police to develop clear guidelines for the enforcement of such directives to ensure that adequate public awareness and reasonable timelines are established prior to implementation. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
The House is called to order by the Speaker for the first plenary of the week.
Honorable, please, can you...
As they get down to business, a motion of urgent public importance is raised by Mr. Mukhtar Shagaya on the recent clampdown on motorists over tinted glasses in the FCT.
Call upon the FCT Police Command to issue a public notice granting a grace period of no less than 90 days, during which vehicle owners can take necessary steps to comply with the regulations concerning tinted glasses and covered number plates.
Some members disagree with the motion.
Amend the prayer 2 that says 3 months should be given to the Nigerian police force for adequate notice to the populace. Let it be reduced to 2 weeks, Mr. Speaker.
I suggest he withdraw that because it's a security-related motion, and if you are suggesting 2 weeks from now to Xmas or Christmas or New Year, we have less than 3 weeks.
However, the motion scales through with the House giving its relevant committees powers to take action on the matter.
There is it.
After plenary, the House Committee on Shipping Services meets with the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Gboyega Oyetola. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Abdulsamad Dasuki, notes that the ministry has the potential to generate the resources to fund Nigeria's budget.
Based on what the committee has seen and the areas we need to collaborate more especially with regards to the bill of the Shipping Council, now the Ports Economic Regulator bill that has been passed.
The committee is promising that the House will expedite the passage of the Nigerian Shipping and Port Economic Regulatory Agency bill to give legislative backing to innovations in the sector. Dele Omoyeni for Channels Television News.
Let's now head to the nation's capital, where Victoria Long John is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Victoria. Over to you.
Many thanks, Ayo. The Nigeria police has recovered 129 billion naira counterfeit currencies with a breakdown of 3.36 million in counterfeit US dollars, 51,970 counterfeit CFA franc, and 1.4 million in counterfeit naira. A statement issued by the False Fabrications Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says the recovery was made on the 8th of December 2024 at Gwale, Kano State, after police operatives acting on credible intelligence accosted one Noura Ibrahim, after which 392,000 counterfeit notes, 7,800 USD counterfeit notes, and 5 different ATM cards were discovered. The statement adds that further investigation led to the arrest of his accomplices, Mohammed Muntari and Usman Abdullahi, as well as the recovery of other counterfeit currencies. And the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, has reiterated Nigeria's unwavering commitment to strengthening its health sector and combating HIV and AIDS. In his remarks at the U.S.-Nigeria HIV Sustainability Meeting in Abuja, Professor Pate highlighted President Tinubu's emphasis on health as a fundamental component of Nigeria's development agenda and acknowledged the PEPFAR's program's contribution to tackling important health issues such as HIV treatment for children and preventing mother-to-child transmission. The coordinating minister assured the U.S. delegation that the government will sustain its gains, particularly in HIV treatment and prevention, while working towards achieving universal health care for all.
On HIV, clearly Nigeria has done a lot, and with support of all the external partners. And here I would really like to, on behalf of the federal government, appreciate the U.S. government overall, the U.S. government the PEFA program, but also other aspects of the U.S. government support to Nigeria over the last several years, which has meant we have reached the cusp of achieving the targets in terms of HIV treatment in our country.
When people come together, the question is always, why are we here? What do we want to achieve? I think I just want to be very clear that the outcome of this, what we consider success at the top of the hour, will be a common understanding of how we approach sustainability in Nigeria's HIV program, which we are a proud partner as PEPFAR. Nigeria matters to us for several reasons. It's the largest populated country in Africa, and public health matters. It's about population. Even though the prevalence of HIV is relatively low in Nigeria, the burden is high.
Now, still ahead on the news at 10, Central Bank of Nigeria denies claims of forex sales to Bureau de Change at 1,301 naira per dollar. That's some business news to join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. President Bola Tinubu has restated his administration's belief that reforming Nigeria's immigration and air travel will open up tremendous economic opportunities for the country. The president was speaking while commissioning a state-of-the-art solar-powered data technology complex at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja.
President Bola Tinubu arriving at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja for the commissioning ceremony of the solar-powered data technology complex. He was welcomed and led into the venue of the ceremony. In her welcome speech, the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service outlines the components that make up the data technology complex.
It's a multifaceted complex comprising several critical components that will play a pivotal role in Nigeria's security and migration management.
One after the other, speakers applaud the project.
This program is one of the very contemporary programs you see across the world. IATA is here, and the ICAO has also endorsed this program. In the most advanced borders in the world today, this is what you see. Before the passengers arrive in the country, you have all the data regarding everybody on that flight. And so it makes security, scrutiny, and everything very seamless. This is a nation that is now joining some of the few nations that are able to implement this program, the API system. And implemented not only one airport, but 5 international airports in Nigeria.
The Minister of Interior explained how the project, which was conceived over 18 years ago, was started and completed in 1 year.
I know how tough it was. When I had pushbacks, I went to you, I came to you, and you told me, Bumi, go do what is right. And we went ahead. And with that courage, we were able to bulldoze. This started over 18 years ago, and they were unable to start it because of political will. It was your support that gave us that will. It was your support that gave us the courage.
For the president, this project is a fulfillment of a campaign promise that has great benefit for Nigeria.
It is my singular honor to commission the Bola Ahmed Tinubu project. Innovation Center, we look forward to feeling its great impact and economic benefit and national security rewards.
The president is then taken on a tour of the solar power plant. The project is expected to enhance national security and efficiency of the country's migration and border management processes.
Promasidor Nigeria Limited has concluded the Hunger Taste the Millions promo, bringing an end to 12 weeks of activities. The promo, which saw the company give away over 250 million naira worth of cash and gifts, was part of activities to mark the 10th year of Hunger Seasoning Cubes in Nigeria.
It's the grand finale of the Onga Taste the Millions promo, and 250 million naira worth of cash and gifts have been and will be up for grabs. The promo is an initiative of Promasidor Nigeria Limited to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the launch of Onga Seasoning Cubes. Between September and November, Onga has given out 70 million naira cash to 70 lucky customers, as well as gift items.
We've given out 70 million naira to 70 different people. Today we are giving out 1 million naira to 10 different lucky individuals. 5 people will win 500,000 naira. 100,000 naira will go to 10 different people. 40 people will win 50,000 naira. And 325 people will win 10,000 naira.
Without further ado, the draws are done and lucky winners are notified, eliciting reactions of joy and relief.
Ogani, you have just won 1 million naira. Yes, it's true. I say, make I tell you, say you don't win 1 million naira.
Thank you.
Ogani, I said you win 1 million naira.
1 million naira.
Okay, no year before.
Thank God.
Representatives of Promasidor expressed satisfaction over the effects of the promo on the brand and consumers.
There's more conversation about the brand and also more interest through the promo and through the offerings. So there's been very positive impact from consumers, and also we also hope that this energy keeps and continues even beyond this period, and we keep giving consumers more value.
Our consumers are delighted. We've brought smiles and joy to so many faces and so many families. We've seen people that we're still thinking about how to live, win millions. We've turned people into millionaires. I would say that the affinity with the brand also has grown, and that is what we want to achieve, and we've achieved that.
Onga and Promasidor say they will be looking to keep providing quality products to their consumers.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has pledged his administration's commitment to networking urban areas to rural communities by providing the road infrastructure needed. Mr. Wike was speaking during the flag-off ceremony of a 15-kilometer road from the Abuja-Lokoja Road to Pai community in Kwale Area Council of the nation's capital.
This is Pai, a community under the Kwale Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, and is hosting the latest road project being flagged off for construction by the FCT administration. Present here to witness this event are past and present members of the National Assembly, top officials of the FCT, traditional rulers, amongst others. Apart from the benefit of the 15-kilometer road from the Abuja-Lokoja Road to Pai community for the residents, the traditional ruler of the community makes a request.
I want to bring to your notice, and I'm sure you are not aware, that we have a technical science school in Kwale, which is owned by the FCT administration. Unfortunately, the school is operating under stress. First, because the prescribed infrastructures that have been raised are not yet completed.
The Minister of the FCT begins with a response to the request.
Chief of Staff tell the Budget Secretary to go to the Third Technical College and see what we can do to make the people of Kwale happy.
He's concerned about the poor urban-rural road network and pledges to address the issue.
Abuja was created since 1976. A total disconnect between the city and the satellite towns. Ordinarily, we would have had not only the city, one city, we would have had not less than 2-3 cities. Be assured that under Mr. President's tenure, every promise we have made, every project we have started, we will complete all of them.
After his speech, the minister proceeds to officially flag off the project. From Pai community in Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, Kumbi Aboluade, reporting for Channels Television.
And that's it from the nation's capital. It's now over to Will Ibong for business news. Thank you, Victoria. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has denied claims of selling forex to Bureau de Change BDC operators at 1,301 naira per dollar. In a post on X, the CBN clarifies that the purported circular did not originate from the bank. According to the CBN, the fake documents allege that $20,000 will be sold to each BDC at 1,301 naira per dollar, with a directive for BDCs to sell to end users at a 1% margin. It also outlines payment procedures and listed specific CBN branches for disbursement. The CBN has labeled the information as false and misleading, emphasizing that on September the 6th, it approved FX sales to BDCs at a rate of 1,580 naira per dollar. The Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Oti, has presented the 2025 budget proposal of $750.28 billion naira to members of the State House of Assembly for consideration. Presenting the appropriation bill, christened Budget of Sustained Momentum, on the floor of the Abia State Assembly, Dr. Alex Oti says the total sum of 601.7 billion naira, representing 82% of the budget, is for capital expenditure, while 138.6 billion naira, representing 18% of the budget, is for recurrent expenditure.
In the 2025 financial year, 611.7 billion, representing 82% of the entire budget outlay, will be channeled into capital projects to continue to drive the long-term socio-economic transformation of the state, building on the momentum that had already been recorded in the last 18 months since we assumed office. Furthermore, 138.6 billion, representing 18% of the total envelope, shall be channeled into recurrent expenditures to cover personnel costs, social benefits, overhead costs, and debt services. Looking at the figures for 2024, we are raising the size of the proposed capital expenditure for 2025 by 29%.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has threatened to sanction any airline that fails to refund passengers for cancellations or delays of flights within 14 days. The Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Michael Achimogo, who made this known, warned that airlines that fail to comply with Part 19 of NCAA's regulations relating to the issue will attract immediate sanctions. Mr. Achimogo also mentioned that he is pursuing a review of the regulations to cut the time frame for refund payment to airline passengers from 14 to 7 days. And let's check in on the domestic stock market, which made a rebound in today's trading session with MTN Nigeria in the lead. Ini John Mekwa tells us more.
Everyone, welcome to the stock market report. Well, a recovery from Monday's fall. We see the all-share index in the green at the close of trade today. It's up 0.10%, but not moving so much away from the 98,000 that it's been dwelling on for some time. But there's a difference in the story of the market today. Golden Guinea Breweries has been leading the market into either the positive or the negative territory today. That's been taken over by MTN. MTN Nigeria is the market mover today. It opened at 170 naira 10 kobo, but closed at 176 naira, gaining 5 naira 90 kobo. So MTN drives that recovery in the NGX at the close of Tuesday's trade. Let's look at all the movers or contributors to the market, seeing the sectors. We see banking banking is down today, 0.2%. Zenith Bank, GTCO, UBA, they had profit taken on them. Consumer goods is on the flip side, 0.17%. Golden Guinea, we talked about, contributed to that. Oil and gas is actually the star for in the market today. Corn oil, Eternal oil, O&O, contributed to this very green number that we see, 1.64%. So at the close of trade, the second trading day of this week, we see the bull recovering from that fall.
And that's a wrap on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Will. Syrian rebels have named Mohammed al-Bashir as the new interim prime minister. Mr. al-Bashir had previously governed a small pocket of rebel-held territory during Bashar al-Assad's regime. Here's Simon Pierce with more on this and other international news in Around the World at 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
The main Islamist rebel leader in Syria says senior officials of the Assad regime who are involved in torturing political prisoners will be named. In Damascus, rebel fighters reportedly say they've found more than 40 bodies in a hospital morgue showing signs of torture. Celebrations continue across the country as people tear down monuments from the Assad regime. Syrian media reports the new interim Prime Minister, Mohammed al-Bashir, has taken control of the transitional government until March.
The realities so far is that the HTS and also the other armed groups have been sending good messages to the Syrian people. They have been sending messages of unity, of inclusiveness, and frankly speaking, also we have seen in Aleppo and in Hama, we have also seen, reassuring things on the ground.
Meanwhile, Israeli warplanes have reportedly carried out hundreds of airstrikes across Syria, including on the capital Damascus. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says it has documented more than 310 strikes by the Israeli Defense Forces since the fall of the Assad regime on Sunday. Meanwhile, the IDF confirmed it has troops operating in Syrian territory beyond the demilitarized buffer zone between Syria and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. It added that its strikes were to prevent weapons from falling into the hands of extremists as Syria transitions to a post-Assad era. A 26-year-old man has been charged with murder over last week's fatal shooting of a United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, in New York City. Luigi Mangione was taken into custody at a McDonald's in the town of Altoona in Pennsylvania after a customer recognized him.
The class of 2016 is truly defined by its inventive, pioneering mentality.
An Ivy League graduate from a prominent Maryland family, police say he was found in possession of a gun and a handwritten document that expressed ill will towards corporate America. People who knew him well told US media he suffered from a painful back injury and that he had become socially withdrawn in recent months. Brazil's president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, is doing well after undergoing surgery for a bleed on the brain. That's according to his doctors. The 79-year-old was taken to hospital in the capital, Brasilia, on Monday after he had complained of a severe headache. An MRI scan revealed the bleed, and Lula was transferred to a hospital in Sao Paulo to have it drained. The intracranial hemorrhage was caused by a blow to the head he sustained when he fell in his bathroom at the presidential residence in October. The UK and US governments have imposed sanctions on a British Kenyan businessman over his alleged involvement in the illicit gold trade. Kamlesh Patni and 4 others, including his wife and brother-in-law, will have their assets frozen. He was implicated in one of Kenya's biggest corruption scandals, Goldenberg, which is believed to have cost the country at least $600 million. Ghana's opposition candidate and former president, John Mahama, has promised a new beginning, a new direction for the country, after being officially declared the winner of Saturday's presidential election.
The results of this election...
Mahama won with 56.6% against 41.6% for Vice President Mahamadou Bawumia. It is the biggest margin of victory in the country for 24 years. And a Christmas Krampus parade has frightened and delighted pedestrians in Munich. The Krampuslauf event in Munich is a traditional Krampus parade that takes place every year on the Sunday after December the 6th. Tales and drawing of Krampus terrifying children date back to the 1600s in Germany. The parade features hundreds of Krampus, or demon-like creatures, who march through the streets of Munich, scaring and delighting spectators of all ages.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Head coach of Nigeria's under-17 girls, Bankole Olowokere, has selected World Cup scorers Shakirat Moshood and Harmony Chidi among a list of 20 players for the WAFU B under-17 Girls Cup starting this Thursday in Ghana. The Flamingos are in Group B for the two-week competition alongside Niger Republic and Cote d'Ivoire, while host nation Ghana will play Benin Republic in Group A following the withdrawal of Burkina Faso. And Togo had also earlier today withdrawn from the competition. And former Super Eagles forward and 2013 AFCON winner Brandon Dare has joined 9-time Nigerian Premier League champions Eyimba International until the end of the 2024-2025 season. The 36-year-old has been without a club since leaving Kuwaiti side Al Yarmouk in 2022, but he is now set to stage a return to Nigeria's top flight, taking after former international teammates Ahmed Musa and Abdullahi Shehu, who are currently playing for Kano Pillars. And World Governing Football Body FIFA will confirm the hosts for the 2030 and 2034 World Cups on Wednesday, with a joint bid led by Morocco, Spain and Portugal set to be awarded, the former and the latter being handed to Saudi Arabia. The awarding of hosting rights for both tournaments will go to a vote during a FIFA Congress to be held virtually. But there is no doubt about the outcomes, with neither bid having a rival.
I was keen to get this trophy.
Let's talk the Champions League now. Mikel Arteta has praised his Arsenal team over how they have coped with a punishing defensive injury crisis as he prefers his men to face AS Monaco in the Champions League this Wednesday. The Gunners are 7th in the new look formats of the competition after 3 wins in 5 matches and 1 place above the Ligue 1 team.
In the Champions League and in the league, especially against top opposition. So a real threat is a team that is superly well organized, really intense, really good in transition moments as well, and with a lot of quality. So it's going to be a very good test for us tomorrow. The tendency always is to look at the Champions League like something else. So how big is the Premier League? How big is the Champions League? You know, the Premier League is this size and the Champions League is this size. We face incredible, difficult opposition every week, you know. That's the good thing, that when we come up now against a really good team like Monaco, they are doing incredibly well. We are so used to it because we play every 3 days against this kind of opposition.
And from football to tennis, where world #1 Aryna Sabalenka has been voted the WTA Player of the Year after securing 4 titles in 2024. The Belarusian retained the Australian Open in January before winning the US Open in September. She became world #1 in October, ending Iga Swiatek's 11-month stay at the summit. And that's your Sports News Tonight. I'm Kelly Egiga. It's back to Ayetunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. The magistrate court sitting in Ado-Ekiti has denied human rights activist Dele Faratimi bail and adjourned application of his bail to December the 20th this year. FCT High Court has remanded the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, in Kuje Correctional Center, pending the determination of his bail application. President Bola Tinubu has commissioned a state-of-the-art solar-powered data technology complex at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja. And the main Islamist rebel leader in Syria says senior officials of the Assad regime who were involved in torturing political prisoners will be named. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balukun. Do have a good night.